You know, there's a lot of reasons we've been told to keep our emotions under control. However, the concept of the stiff upper lip, machismo, and the desire to hide our emotions is not just an issue for men. Most of us have some emotions that we would like to ignore or avoid when things are tough. And they make us uncomfortable, so it's natural to want to avoid them. But all research that is around about healthy living indicates that tapping into our emotions, regardless of whether they may be difficult, is healthy and more effective than avoiding them. Now, Brene Brown has a book called Atlas of the Human Heart, and it's a beautiful book that she gets into where she describes the importance of understanding the very meaning of emotions, understanding the very meaning of emotions, and really understanding the definitions behind this so that you know what the difference is between, say, sadness and grief, or joy and happiness. And when you begin to understand the true definitions, it actually gives your heart a roadmap to feel what you need to feel. And so the more you can know about the emotions and how they are defined and what it means will inform your brain of what it is you're feeling. However, this is not the end-all be-all. There are some steps that we need to do in order to get beyond the brain's understanding and feeling these emotions. And emotional intelligence is really all about this, right? So here's a few steps that I'm going to teach you about how to get out of your head after you defined all these emotions and drop into your body and feel them, because that's where it really, really hits us, all right? So the number one thing, the first thing that we have to understand is that all of our emotions resonate at a very specific frequency. And I use an AI platform that has actually been able to develop the technology. It's been built for years and just kind of gotten to a point where we can use it on our phones. And you're able to measure the whole palette of your emotions in 15 seconds. It's crazy. Through the resonance of your vocal cords. You count for 15 seconds, boom. I know all my emotions and I can see them. This is a powerful thing. And it surprised me when I first did it, because what happened was sometimes I would check in and I would look, and the emotions that would come up, I'd be like, what? I'm not feeling that, because I'm not dialed in. I had not learned to drop into my body. I had learned with my machismo, stiff upper lip kind of concept, right? That I should not feel those emotions. There's a song called The Trial by Pink Floyd. And in The Trial, it says, "Worm, your honor, this man comes before you having feelings of almost a human sort," right? And that's the song. And that is the essence of, it captures this cultural trend that we have embraced through our world and the upbringing. It's really survivalistic mentality where feelings are not meant to be shown, because your enemy could use your feelings against you, right? And this is what we deal with when we're looking at these emotions that we feel, but you can't suppress them. They're in your vocal cords coming out all the time. That's why when you hear your child call you sometimes on the phone and you pick up the phone and you're like, "Hey, how you doing?" "I'm fine." And you're like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on? How can I help you?" Right? You hear it immediately. And this is what we need to do is once we recognize that these emotions resonate at a specific frequency and are there, then we can say, hey, we can identify these. And the emotions that we may have a tendency to suppress and not want to deal with, well, the beauty of this app is it shows it to you right in front of your face. You cannot deny it, right? And I've learned to trust this app because I've had many times where initially what I saw, I didn't believe. I was like, "No, I'm not feeling that." But once I got out of my head and dropped into the emotion that I understood the meaning of it, I was able to then say, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I am feeling this." So stick around to the end of this video, because I'm going to tell you about a time I was on vacation and my readings were showing me something that I didn't believe, because I was on vacation and I was feeling stressed. Bullshit. I'm on vacation. I'm not stressed out, right? But let's get to the second point. Once you've identified your emotions, you know what they're there, you know that you're dealing with some stuff, then you have to step out of your head, right? And feel where they reside in your body. So for me, I know now, I have learned to actually know where emotions reside in my body. And I'll do body scans of myself. And I can say, you know what? I'm feeling fear. Fear for me is a tightness, kind of a band across my chest that kind of pierces right into the center. That's my fear. And I also feel it in the back of my neck. I feel sadness in my throat, and I feel it behind my heart. It's where it hits me. Anger is at the top of my chest and in my head. I just kind of, I feel it, and it kind of bands across my back. I know how they pick up in my body, right? There's anxiousness comes in my stomach. So once I can get out of my head and I can learn, hey, this is where it resides in my body, that is something that then allows you to connect to these emotions. And we tend to avoid the emotions we feel when we need to drop into our bodies and feel them. Because the beauty of our emotions is they're actually our natural warning signal for our lives that teach us, hey, these are things to be aware of. Alert, alert, like it's like an alert signal. You know, when you're driving down now cars have this frequently, right? You're driving down the road and you want to turn right, switch lanes, put on your signal, and you'll get a little alarm on your thing that's saying, hey, there's a car in your blind spot. That's what your emotions are. They're alerting you to your blind spots. But when you ignore them, and if you're like driving down the freeway and you hear the bleep and the car is in your blind spot and you choose to pull over anyway, ignoring that, you're going to hit something. You're going to get in trouble. And that's what this is about, right? So you want to learn how to feel it. You want to drop into your body. Then once you have learned how to feel it, the next step is learning how to express the emotion that you're feeling. Can you do that? And this is an essential point to emotional intelligence. We avoid feeling and expressing what we're carrying. There's no release. And the delusion of those emotions that you carry with you as you feel this stuff can be overwhelming, right? Then it gets more and more frequent. And the idea of, there's a Disney movie called Inside Out, where they get into the head of somebody and you see all these emotions, right? They're combating. And some of them are ignored and dismissed and they stick with, kind of these, and it's very similar to our culture, right? Where they stick with logic and they kind of suppress all these other emotions. And in the suppression of those, they're led astray because they're not listening to what the power is behind that, because they don't want to hear about sadness. They don't want to hear about the negative emotions. That's not fun. I don't want to deal with that. But there is wisdom there. And when we avoid them, avoid feeling them, and avoid allowing them to be expressed within ourselves, we don't get to hear the wisdom that they have to offer. Now, it's important that when you do finally listen to them, that you drop in and just really experience it, that you look for the kernel of truth. Because within every emotion, there is possibly some delusion from your past experience. Sometimes our emotions are so strong, this is what a trigger is, that you're in fact not experiencing what's in front of you, you're experiencing your past. And you're reacting to something that is no longer there, and so you're interpreting what's happening in front of you as something that has happened from the past. And this is a result of not leaning in to the pain that you're avoiding. And now these triggers hit you, and your emotions aren't serving you. So then you're like, oh, I can't feel emotions. Look what it did. I triggered. What would be better serving you is feeling it, expressing it, understanding what's going on to move you through it so that then you are present to what is actually happening. And the wisdom of your past is guiding you, but not controlling you, right? So after you have done those three things, the final component of true emotional intelligence that allows you to drop in and feel them is empathy. Empathy is the emotion that kind of is the underpinning pillar of emotional intelligence. And empathy is what allows us to see beyond our immediate pain and connect it to those we love. Empathy allows you then to see this person through their own veil, through their own way that they're seeing the world, so you can begin to understand. Because when you begin to offer yourself empathy and compassion, you can then see yourself in the other. And you can say, I can see where I am human like you. And then you can stand with them in their happiness and grief and joy and pain and know that, hey man, I can be here with you. And that creates a connection with somebody. So let me know in the comments below how emotional intelligence has helped you to drop into your emotions and feel them, if it's done something for you using these things. So when I was on vacation For the first time in 2 years, just a little while ago, I hadn't taken a vacation for a long time because I was changing the nature of my business, working really hard. I was in California hanging out with a friend and I was loving it, having a good time, and I checked in with my AI platform on my phone to see what my emotional palette was. I was, just trying to get used to it, and I check in and I look, and it said that my stress was at 100%. No, it's not. I'm in California hanging out, I'm about to go to a concert, I'm by the beach, this is awesome. Didn't believe it at all. But I got out of my head and I dropped into my body and I felt the stress. And the stress was all about the fact that I had not hit my goals yet. I had not done the things I wanted to do. I had all these outside pressures on me saying to myself, don't take a vacation. Even though logically I knew a break is an important thing to do. And I wasn't spending a ton of money. But I was freaking out. And I had to literally just kind of hunker down and allow myself to feel it. And it felt like fire, just like out of my body, telling me, don't do this. And I'm listening to the delusion of it all. And as I touched that emotion of stress and allowed myself to feel it, it dissipated. And as it dissipated, I was relieved from it, and then I was able to enjoy the rest of my vacation and not be back at work in my mind stressing out about the fact that I was not there. I actually enjoyed my vacation and I was able to go on and have a really good time. If this is something that is connecting with you, I'd love you to stick around and watch a video coming up, how to stop basing self-worth on others. I'm James. Thanks for joining me.